a power meter like this.
Welcome to Aural Hygiene. It's the podcast where we look at educational films, caught experimental films, and interesting documentaries. I am Matt. Hello, Andrew Shearer.
That was me speaking in tongues.
Right. Okay. Well, it's clear after a second, I guess. We could do the whole podcast in tongues. That'd be fun. It's like watching Galaxy Quest and Thermidian.
I've done it.
I have too. I've said it before, but I just love it when it's like Pepsi Cola. That's the best. We're speaking in tongues. We're gonna handle some serpents.
That doesn't sound good.
Well, I decided to avoid saying the handle some snakes, but now I've said that too. So, oh well. This is the Serpent Cult, which I guess is an episode of, what's it? True Adventure.
True Adventure. Yeah, that was the name of the TV episode.
Not Disney, because Disney had their 50s program, which was True Life Adventure, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, this was my first episode ever.
Same here.
Yeah. No, it seems like it was maybe in prime time.
Possibly, yeah. Because I think they were kind of knocking off one of the Disneyland programs. I mean the Disney show, because they would do this stuff. I thought this when I first clicked it, I was not deceived, I should say, because it was fun to watch. But I thought it was going to be one of those, and it's actually a different production company and everything.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know a whole lot of trivia about. I even forgot the host's name.
I've already forgotten it too. So,
but he was. We'll talk about it, but I'll tell you everybody kind of what it's about first, and then we'll go into it, because this was an odd experience for me. It was kind of like, I don't know how anyone wouldn't have this experience, but yeah, if you're ready, I'll go ahead and say what it's about.
Oh right, yeah, I was going to let you roll into that.
Yeah, this looks like 60s to me, like early 60s, but I'm not exactly sure.
That was my take. I didn't think it had a date on it.
Okay, so it's hosted by this guy, this talking head, and it is about Louisville, Kentucky, a religious cult that does snake handling, which is me coming from a non-religious background. This has got some kind of weird offshoot of Christianity, I guess, where they take a certain part of the Bible that talks about not being afraid of snakes or something. He explains it all and prefaces by saying, now, we're not here to make any sort of judgment or to condemn any religious practice. And then he goes on for the next 20 minutes freaking out about this religious practice and basically condemning it. But yeah, so it shows real footage. This is Mondo stuff of an actual snake handlers, and it's a large group of people, all white. That may shock you.
Your point of view is honky, motherfucker. Sorry, that's just one of my notes.
But they are not just one snake where someone goes around with the snake and going like, and you are healed by the snake, and you are healed by the snake. It's just piles of these snakes. And yes, they're
healed by the snake after the service.
Everyone who wants to come into the tent and be healed by the trouser snake. Herman, the one-eyed German, will also be there. The longer you watch it, the more like they start calling it weird, bizarre, dangerous, and oh god,
like, why is our photographer there? Why did we send this cameraman there? He's gonna die.
Yeah, we believe that small child who was holding the balloon was later killed by one of the snakes. It was just it goes from documentary, newsreel documentary, Mondo footage, to like this like quasi-journalistic America's Funniest Home Videos. That's a strong quasi at that point.
Yes. Well, if you just add with snakes, America's Funniest Home Videos. Now with snakes.
Now with snakes and severely disturbed rednecks.
But I don't know. You got your moonshine stills, all that. Moonshine will make you blind. I found backwoods stills when I used to go camping and stuff. Somewhere I have photos of them.
Okay, I've been nowhere near anything like this. So this to me was just you know, there's rattlesnakes in here, which we know because they tell you kill half the people they bite, and they're just like put it on your head. And there's one point even where someone like opens the mouth to show everyone, yeah, here's the fangs, you know. To me, knowing that this stuff still happens, and there are parts of the United States where there are just pockets of people who are just do not care about laws, do not care about civilization, and they're raising kids in there to continue it, I think is just, it's disturbing. However, this educational film, it's got its mondo quality, but you know, this is a 20-minute, how long is it? Like 22, 23 minutes long. You're like, all right, well, it's going to keep its value for maybe half of that. Why would you keep watching it? It's because, and the guy warns you, it builds and gets crazier and more insane and crazier and more insane, like up until the very end of it.
So they got the build up. I kept expecting Steve Martin to show up at some point. Hey, I don't know. And there was actually there's a clip from the early 80s where he's going through the jungle and comes across like the hippie commune and is just being ridiculously condescending.
Yeah, God, he would be great in some of those Italian cannibal movies too.
Yeah. But yeah, the guy in this is he's not as see the Disney production host probably would have been more charming, where this guy seems a little whack.
This wouldn't have come from Disney. I mean, it shows children in just like not even possible danger, it's probable danger.
Last bit you said that was the hallmark of a Disney film.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, you know, no, Disney likes to ace the parents as soon as possible. But it does check that box for Disney. That's true. And, you know, on second thought, they probably should make, you know, the next Disney movie about snake handlers, especially if they can kill a couple of kids, or at least their parents. You know, like dad jumps in the way and the snake.
Would have to come to the Pixar route, so it's artistic too, right?
First 5 to 10 minutes that needs to happen. That's the note. Yeah, but it's God, you know, the guy becomes the narrator becomes unhinged at a point. I think this is too long. I think that's the thing. The segment is too long, and he doesn't reserve judgment. And that's kind of the whole thing of documentary filmmaking. You know, you got this kind of objective point of view. There's no natural sound. It wasn't there. They didn't appear to have recorded sound at this thing. So you got this like banjo 2000 Maniacs music like playing through the whole thing.
Oh, the sales go to rise again. Yeah, I have you know, what did I write about? Redneck tribal beats gonna get your dick up. Bluegrass is the sound of the Satan.
Yeah, no, you know, it begins innocently enough, I guess, before the snakes come out, and they just bring out box O snakes. And so then, you know, it's just, I don't know, you can't be, I think they really, like, because it's so long and it's not just here's a funny thing, because they try to set it up as this thing is like, now we must have respect for cultures and religious practices, but that's like saying like, okay, so, you know, if our friend Jim offers you Kool-Aid, don't be rude.
Right. Well, I was yeah, I put might the getting bitten send you into an out of body experience. You know, if you get killed, it should be like a pretty intense one.
Yeah. I think there'll be no coming back for this one. I mean, it's the ultimate trip.
The ultimate high, man. Yeah. And yeah, the narrator also, as it goes, he keeps shouting true adventures more and more as it goes. Like
he does. You know, it's almost like, okay, this is the 60s when this was made, early 60s, I would say. you think about the things that people were seeing on television at that time. He makes a comment early on talking about, we couldn't use a tripod for this, so it's going to be all handheld. I think this was on the cusp of verite being a common thing in households. And so it it may well be one of the first times people saw something like this, like families saw something. I wonder if True Adventures was a primetime show.
Yeah. Oops, we didn't do our research, but because these rednecks, these hillbillies, let's call them hillbillies. That's because they live in the hills, right? Because they don't want to be on any damn TV. True Adventures only. You got to trust the brand.
Yeah, and they did remark that they didn't want to be filmed, but we got permission. And then there's a couple times when they several times as it goes that the subjects appear to acknowledge the camera and then attempt to include the camera in it, showing the snake fangs right there. It's like, what did this, they couldn't have paid this guy enough, this person shooting this film. Like, at what point do you just go, I'm tapping out, everyone? This is not it's not worth it to me.
And before the snakes, they're screwing around with the fire, right? You got that guy that looks like Morrissey, like doing dangerous things with fire.
Oh gosh, I totally forgot about the fire. Okay. Yeah, they are this whole thing is to show how strong their religious faith is. It's like, oh, I believe, I trust in whatever so much that I'll put my arm. Yeah, it shows them like putting fire on themselves. And that's kind of like the guy that walks on hot coals. It made me think of that kind of thing, to where you're like, oh well. But did you ever look at something like that, or could you look at something like that and go like, wow, that's very powerful, or man, what an idiot?
For in Christ all the fullness of the deity lives in bodily form, and in Christ you have been brought to fullness. Sorry, I just thought I'd do the random Bible reading like they do in here.
No, it's they do try to give it some context by, and all this is in the beginning, I should say, because at first they're really setting it up as being sort of like a, let's observe this thing and let's try to reserve our, but by the end it's just like, holy shit, another snake.
What could this be? What horrible surprise is next? It's another snake.
Another snake. It's the snake's dad. It's the snake's babies. But yeah, the one of the reasons why I was into this, because I actually had to research snake handling when I reviewed a film called Them That Follow in 2019. This is a really, it's a good movie, but it's about a girl, it's a young woman rather, that's trying to escape a cult, and they do use the word cult in the documentary. I don't know what really defines a religious cult. I mean, is it the amount of people that are involved?
I was just listening to someone talk about that yesterday. It's like do you take your neighbor's wife as the leader? I I guess you have to have a certain amount of people. I mean, I can't have my own cult if I don't have any followers.
Yeah.
Every religion, by definition, would be a cult at some point, though, right? It would have to go through its cult phase before getting a little more traction.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about groups of people that have some sort of, I don't know. I'm not educated enough on it to speculate, but I did wonder about that. But these people are doing an illegal activity. I mean, they shouldn't be doing this. And if they're caught, they're definitely get busted. But they do it anyway. And it's a thing that people think of as a Southern, probably because there's a kind of permissive attitude in the hills and stuff like that. Like, all right, Jed, just don't kill any more 9-year-olds this week. Could you just, I mean, that's enough, Jed. That's enough 9-year-olds.
I just put these folks, they talk the talk and snake bite the walk,
It's totally true. And imagine if you're the guy that has to go out and get the snakes. You're just
Where
like,
do you
what
get
is
the snakes? I guess they're picking them out from the forest, picking them out.
I mean, they're obviously catching them and putting them in a big box. I mean, that's how it appears they do. It's
got a snake, put it in the box.
That's right. Y'all got that snake box.
Those snakes were pissed.
I mean, did you put yourself in the position of the snake when watching it? I didn't even get in that headspace, but what could the snake possibly be thinking?
I don't know what snakes think, but I can assume they're pissed.
Yeah, they're like, God, I cannot stand Kentucky.
I think my most
I need
this
to get out of Kentucky.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were making a claim that this podcast is firmly against Kentucky.
No, I think the snakes are just like, it's probably what they're telling them. The box says like New York City on it. And they're like, hell yeah.
Let's go.
They got us again. Ding dang.
I don't know. I guess my most redneck experiences when I was a teenager, we'd stay with some family friends. They had a nice lake house like in Alabama, and these people were, and the neighbors were pretty loaded. They had like little jet skis and stuff, and have a motorboat. And we go to the other side of the lake, and it's like this redneck campsite. And we get off the boat, and hey, I know these people, and I get introduced to this couple named, was it Bubba and Buff?
Wow.
So hopefully,
my experience when arriving in Athens was that I was in the country, because of how like big of distance of nothing it was between Atlanta and Athens. And Athens had, I mean, you and I got turned around one time trying to go somewhere, and we were like seeing cows and pigs and chickens like very soon after getting just out of the boundaries of downtown. You remember that?
yeah, it doesn't take too long to go rednecking.
No, and so one of the first jobs that I had out there, briefly at an air conditioning plant or factory, whatever it was, there was a guy there that I couldn't understand. I could understand him kind of, like there were varying degrees of country accent there. Some I couldn't understand at all. And so when I was kind of learning the ropes and walking around with him, there was a guy that he'd always say something to, that was kind of like up on another level of like maybe another floor that you could kind of see like an observation deck or railing. And he would raise his hand and go, and I'm going like, okay, I don't know what that is. I mean, I can understand pretty much, okay, everything this guy says, but whatever he's saying to his friend, that's nothing. And so when I got to know him a little bit better, I said, hey, what are you saying to that guy that you always walk by? What is it you say to him? And he goes, oh, I'm just hollering at him. Right. You were like acknowledging him and saying hello, but what is it you actually say to that guy? He goes, I'm just, nothing really. And I'm going, oh my God, Blazing Saddles was right. Authentic frontier gibberish does actually exist. So, sometimes when you hear like a thick Southern accent here and you go like, what in the hell was that? It might be actually nothing.
They're just hollering at each other.
Exactly. It might be actually nothing. That blew my mind, man. I was like, holy God. Because I've been on family trips too, where we passed through somewhere like Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and you get out of the car and you're just like, we are in the sticks.
Redneck Wonderland.
Yeah, because I've been told being from Atlanta is not being from the South. And in situations like that, I can see what they mean. Because wow.
Just to tie a loop, I spent time in Gatlinburg. They have like one of those Ripley's Believe It or Not museums, which is very much along the lines of this.
Yeah, they had like a lot of weird, I don't know, man. It's just there is a lot of different folks out there. And so, yeah, I would like to say that this Louisville, Kentucky serpent cult that is depicted in here no longer exists. It's very likely it does still exist.
Unless they got busted.
No, I mean, they're listening to their, Spotify while they're putting snakes in the box.
Playing some, I don't even know. I don't know what two country singer is anymore because no one in Japan listens to that.
Country. Well, the most popular modern country here is basically pop music sung in a Southern accent.
Twang.
It's not really, very traditional country music. And so I don't
see. It's the twang that makes you think it's racist.
Well, we still have NASCAR.
Yeah. No, Japan's thing is we just have the Inca, which would be that
Tell me about
music Enka, the music you heard in the Kill Bills, the Japanese stuff is like, I mean, they still make it, but that would be like the Japanese equivalent, basically, of the country.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm the thing is this, like, I think coming from where we came from, there in Doraville, we consider ourselves very like cultured as far as knowing what other people were like, but we didn't really, and I say I didn't really get a taste of the redneck or whatever it was until I was well into my 20s. And the thing is that you don't want to say that like you're kind of xenophobic or whatever. However, prior to getting there, I had already seen Deliverance, Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes. And so, you get around stuff like what you see in this True Adventure episode, and you start to think, okay, well, if my car breaks down near where something like, you remember in Quick Change where Randy Quaid's like, it's bad luck just seeing something like that. You just get the idea that if you were to happen upon this occurring, you wouldn't be allowed to leave.
Well, yeah, that's the whole 2000 Maniacs vibe.
Exactly. And that was Florida.
Right.
Which,
that was Disney World.
Yeah, that was the beginning of Florida, man.
No, I mean, where that movie was shot, I believe actually was the tract of land that Disney ended up buying and building Disney World on.
Beautiful. I believe it.
If that's apocryphal, I'll be disappointed. I'll put it that way.
I'm happy to just say that's the fact.
Hopefully where Splash Mountain is.
Snake Venom Trail. It's all venom.
Where can people handle your snakes?
Oh man, I'm so glad you asked. You can find my friends and I who make underground movies here in Athens, Georgia. Go to Gonzoriffic, Gonzoriffic.com. It'll be your portal to buying things and watching things and following things and all that other good stuff. We're doing the punk rock flea market at the Classic Center on July 31st and August 1st. And then we will have our yearly underground movie show at Athens Cine on November 12th and 13th.
Cine. Okay. I feel like I said it slightly differently. I probably just called Con.
The lady at the post office near me says, at the center. I like going to see movies at the center.
That's like this. Maybe
Center
she thinks it's a center. Yeah. This podcast is Aural Hygiene Pod. It's on Twitter, Facebook. It's here. You're listening to it. You know where this is. I also make music that's at rovingsagemedia.bandcamp. rovingsagemedia.bandcamp.com. There we go. I felt like I'd already said com in there somewhere. So com. Okay.
No, you're doing it. It's frontier gibberish.
Exactly. I got bit once and I liked it.
There's a snake in my boot. There's cocaine in my snake in my boot.